Just finished a little training session here. Been teaching over here at A&R Tactics in Charlotte, North Carolina. And one thing I wanted to talk about, I get a lot of questions of technique questions and training approach and different things like that. And, I think it's super important to kind of define how you want to approach something, really anything that you want to learn. First of all, if you want to learn something, I would assume that there's a certain level of curiosity, there's a certain level of passion, and that, that you want to be good at it, right? So if you are attempting to pursue something like, hey, I want to master this, I want to be really good at this, what does it take to do that? In something like grappling or martial arts or really anything, I think that you definitely need that curiosity, that passion, to have that to drive you through to those training sessions that may not be the most fun. And your ego is going to get bruised. So you have to want to do it. I think that's a huge component to this, and something that maybe sometimes is underestimated. And then I think that, you also have to hold yourself to some pretty high standards, I think, and be willing to do that and be honest with yourself in that process. If you're doing something, learning anything to be good at it, you're going to make mistakes. And the only way to really be good at something and for it to be worth it is to stress test stuff, put yourself in some high pressure situations, and be willing to make mistakes and then learn from those things. I think a lot of people sometimes think it's going to be an easy process, when in reality it's not. If it is easy, then it's probably not something worth mastering, right? So I think that's super important. And so when we're in that pursuit for mastery, for example, or being really good at something, we need that passion. But also we need to also understand that it's also elusive. Anytime we get to a certain level and we get a little too, we pat ourselves on the back, there's always going to be something more to learn. You can always go deeper, do something faster, do something more efficiently, do something with better technique, do something with better understanding. So as alluring as mastery is, or, as alluring as wanting to be good at something is, it also becomes elusive. You get to a certain point and you realize, I got to do more. And yeah, there's a lot of different levels to it. And I also think about that process of what does mastery mean? What are we trying to achieve in that process? And I think a lot of times it's not just having knowledge. You also have to be able to execute when you need to in a pressure situation, and also do that thing against a variety of people and in a variety of situations, with varying levels of pressure. So, you do that, let's say you master something like a Kimura shoulder lock, and, you get really good at this shoulder lock and you're doing it against all the white belts and you think you're the man, when you realize I got to do it against all the blue belts and all the purple belts and all the brown belts and all the black belts. And now I got to do it in competition when it really counts. And, I got to do it more efficiently. So it's a never ending thing. This isn't something that people think, I'm going to be a black belt, I'm a master now. It's no, not really. There's a lot of black belts now walking around in the world. There was a time where it was kind of a rare thing. But thankfully, because the sport is growing, because the art is growing, there's a lot more people competing. There's a lot more organizations when it comes to mixed martial arts and higher level opponents. Everyone's kind of trying to learn the same things. So in that process, people are getting better. People are getting more efficient. People are adding in elements of physicality, strength, flexibility, speed. So that target is always moving away from you. You never want to be in a position where you feel if I only get to this point, because, you want to set goals for yourself, but just understand that you're going to consistently set goals for yourself all of the time. Um, and Yeah, I think that's an important thing. Like, don't set some goal and you reach it and you're like, okay, I'm done. Reached my black belt. I don't need to do anything. Or, you want some tournament and you think you're the man, and you realize, I don't really have to do anything. I've achieved my goals. Now I'm done. The anything worth learning is always going to be a rabbit hole. And your training should also model that as well. I think that you're not trying to train to look good or feel good. You're training to be able to get better. And through that process, you have to be super present, super honest, and also like search for understanding of what you're doing. And over the next few weeks, I'll be talking about this a lot more. I'm hoping to come up with some things. I've been building, this kind of infrastructure, I guess, if you will, to be able to provide some services for those that want to be better at coaching and training and all that stuff. But, that hopefully will be coming in the near future. But I think that's an important thing. Like that's probably the most common questions I get, even with other even experienced guys, is like, what's the goal here? And I think defining what you're trying to achieve very specifically is super important. I think the smaller the target is, the more defined the target is, the easier it is going to be to achieve that goal. But if you kind of hold these like loose goals and, these general things of what you want to do, it can be harder to kind of attain those things. So, and so as you're training, I think the other thing is, don't try to collect a bunch of techniques. Try to collect understanding that's going to cover a lot of techniques. You can learn just some really key principles and concepts that will apply itself to a multitude of positions. And I think that's what learning really is, especially in something like martial arts, really in any field. It's this, you need to have an open mind as you're doing it, and also like a mind that isn't attaching itself to one thing in particular. When you're learning certain skills, maybe in the beginning, yeah, that's a thing. You're thinking about just your base in the beginning. You're thinking about, maybe just, how to control a lever in the beginning. You're thinking about, how to just to retain guard, maybe in certain situations. But you have to have like a free-flowing mind as well as you're going through those things. Once you start learning the actual art, and understanding like the mechanizations at play of what's actually transpiring, like what's making moves work as opposed to just trying to execute moves. I think there's a big difference in that. And that's one thing that, I've been super lucky that I've been able to train with a lot of high level guys and learn from others. And I noticed that like the truly elite guys, that's what they're chasing. And also understanding that like you're going to have to figure out a lot of things on your own. You have to be your best teacher. A teacher will only take you so far. You're going to have to not only put in the work, but also analyze what you're doing. If you're just going through the motions and hoping to improve, it's not really going to work like that. You're not going to get to a high level anyway. That's where, you as the individual, as the practitioner, is going to have to be super aware of, what you're doing. How is your base in that moment? What are you seeing? How are you transitioning to other things? What is that? What are the common patterns that's leading you into those moves? Where do you want to be positionally in space in relation to your opponent as you're grappling, and et cetera, et cetera. And it goes on and on and on. And then don't be satisfied with just achieving, say a guard pass. It's like, okay, you achieved a guard pass, but now you're huffing and puffing after, 7 minutes of spazzing around that opponent. I think it's super important to be efficient. If you look at the guys that are operating at a high level and whatever it is they do, they always have this ability to make it look easy. And in my opinion, it's super easy. Like we'll watch fights, and I'll see comments on X or whatever, or on Instagram, and people will point out really obvious things like, oh, he's got a really good squeeze. And that's kind of like a low IQ way of looking at it. No offense, but like, or that guy's really fast, or he hits really hard. It's like, you know, any little kid can notice those things. But like the people that are really operating on a high level, the masters, are always operating in like the invisible, or at least in the things that are difficult to see. And that's what we're trying to achieve, I think, with training. What are the things that people can't see? You know, and how do we understand what's actually going on behind the moves? And I think that's the key to a lot of it. And a lot of times it's just the fundamentals. But everyone's idea of what fundamentals are very different, you know. And I think that there's kind of a lack of that knowledge. I think things are way better here in 2025 than it was before. You know, what we considered fundamentals, you know, when I was coming up is very different than what it is now, both in what those things are and in the application of those things. So, you know, obviously this is not easy. There's a lot to learn, but making things as simple as possible, I think, should be the goal as an instructor, and also as, you know, as practitioner, and understanding what the heck is going on. And that way we can start to refine it and actually cut away at what we're doing. You know, if I can accomplish a certain thing in 3 moves as opposed to 8 moves, then I have more energy. I have more energy to keep rolling. I have the ability to be more composed. I have the ability to be more present through that process. I can follow very specific technical principles that are going to make it really easy for me, and also make it way harder for the person that I'm training with or competing against. And that's what we're really trying to achieve at the end of the day. And there's just, you know, millions of positions in this art, and because of that, it takes a long time to kind of figure this all out. And, you know, if myself or any other instructors out there that can help cut out that process, that's going to be huge. I have made millions and millions of mistakes over the course of my career. I wish I knew what I knew now. And it's kind of bittersweet because, you know, at the same time, I wish I had better guidance along the way. Wish I had better help along the way. I also, because I've made those mistakes, I'm much more aware of it. And there's nothing worse and nothing better than making a mistake when everybody's watching, because you're going to remember it. And, you know, if you're a competitive person, you know, it's going to hurt a little bit. If you have a little bit of an ego, it's going to hurt a little bit. But those are also the things that are going to drive you to want to fix those things. So it takes a lot. I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. You know, jiu-jitsu, martial arts, anything that you're trying to learn at a high level, you know, if you want to be the master, you have to be willing to be the jester every once in a while, you know, and make some mistakes and fall on your face a little bit, and figure it out on your own. So keep at it, keep training. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know. I don't know how much time we have, but any questions on there or anything like that anybody's asking?
George Robinson said, bringing the dark to the light.
There you go. Yes.
Jared the Jiu-Jitsu says he loves training at your new school. So
thank you. Thank you, Jared. Yeah. So I started teaching again. You know, my body hasn't been great as of late. I retired because I had a bad back. I hurt my back in 2007. Ultimately retired. Maybe it was 2006. I hurt my back for the first time. But anyways, yeah, I retired because of my back in 2011, and it's been kind of a roller coaster ride. So I've been dealing with that, trying to get healthy, and anyway, no one cares about that. But as a way to kind of supplement that, or at least give me some kind of involvement with martial arts, I kind of got back to teaching again, and I feel way happier. You know, if I'm not doing martial arts, it's kind of easy for me to get depressed. And I've been working on other things like that, you know, like shooting and things like that, which has been really fun. So I've been teaching over here at ANR Tactics in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we've been we kind of started a no-gi program, just kind of teaching here a couple of days a week, but it's been a lot of fun. We have a great group here. Right now it's still pretty small, so the students are getting pretty good attention, and I've noticed a lot of improvements in just a few weeks, which has been great. And yeah, just a good group of people over here. If you guys want to come in and train, come on in, and you know, hopefully we'll get better together. So
another question.
yeah.
You on TV Boss, do you have a podcast or some such? Your analytics are great.
Oh, thank you. He's asking if I have a podcast,
Mhm.
or yeah. So I have a podcast actually with John Anik, who's the lead play-by-play commentator for the UFC. He's the man. I've been working with him for a long time, but yeah, we started a podcast actually all the way back in 2015, and we were coming up on our 10-year anniversary in a few months, and which is pretty cool. So that we just basically talk UFC and mixed martial arts in general, but mostly stick to the UFC conversation. And we break down fights, we predict fights, and we have a good time in the process. We have Ray Longo, who's the man out of New York, legendary coach who's on the show, Brian Petrie, who's a professional gambler, I guess you could say, who's on the show, who I pick against, and we pick fights every week, which is a lot of fun. So yeah, if you guys want to check it out, that's what we have. But I'm planning on other things and trying to build some other things for you guys, for those that are coaching or training. Hopefully I'll have that for you guys soon. Any other questions?
Yeah, regular lives.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot more of these lives. So if you guys have like things that you want me to talk about that I could ramble on about, let me know, and hopefully it will be helpful to you guys.
Extra subscription content that'll come in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll be providing some subscription content as well, where we kind of go a lot more in depth and a lot of other things. We'll be releasing. I hate to tease these things, but yeah, I think a lot of these things that we'll be doing will be things that like I don't think have been done before in the way that I'm doing it. So I'm hoping that you guys will find it exciting anyway. If you want to be a part of that, it's going to be kind of small select groups that I'll be doing. But anyways, we'll be doing more of this anyway, and this stuff's going to be free for you guys. So if you guys have any questions in the meantime about training, about even techniques, like I have a map behind me, I can get someone to demonstrate with and go over some of these things. If you have some of that stuff, we could talk about it and discuss it, and hopefully it's helpful to you guys. And again, this has been a lot of fun, kind of getting back on the mat. This is what has always been my favorite thing to do, and where I always kind of envisioned myself. I actually never thought I was going to be a fighter. I always thought I was going to be a teacher. And the fact that I get to do this, although I'm not able to train like I used to, the quantity that I want or the quality that I want with my body, it does make me really, really happy that I get a chance to teach again and help people out. So I guess until next time, anything else? Any other questions?
Will Bambury wonders, Kenny, who are you going to pass on the full power of the elbows to?
The elbow? I don't know. If there's any people that want to learn it, let me know. But people are doing more elbows now, which is nice. Still not to the quantity that you see in in Thailand with Muay Thai and stuff like that. But I've definitely seen some nasty elbows in the UFC right now, more than I've seen in the last several years, which is cool. The art's always evolving, man. The fighters are getting so good now, so it's been cool to watch.
I see people saying that they'll stop by and during in Charlotte. Letting people know they can come as drop-ins.
Yeah, you can definitely come by as drop-ins. Is it ANRtactics.com?
Uh-huh.
You can check us out at ANRtactics.com. You can hit me up on Instagram or on X at Kenny Florian if you guys have any questions, or you guys want to come in and train. If you guys want me to come by for a seminar or anything like that, if I'm in the area or whatever, and not sure I'm going to do too much traveling in 2025, but if there's enough interest, I'm definitely willing to come out.
Someone's asking how you started in firearms.
In firearms?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So actually, my buddy Ryan Hall, who I've learned so much from, both in jiu-jitsu and martial arts in general, just kind of asked me if I wanted to go shooting one day, and I just loved it. I loved it, and shortly after, got a pistol and just kind of, didn't practice that much with it. Just kind of would shoot every once in a while. It was kind of like, at least I have a pistol. I can shoot every once in a while. And then when I moved to North Carolina, I was looking for something to do, something to learn while I was kind of injured and kind of messed up with my back, and just kind of went all in. I went to this place called Point Blank Range in Matthews, North Carolina, and met a lot of great friends. This is how I met the guys at Art Tactics, and started learning a bunch of different stuff and really kind of wanted to get good at it. So I probably dry fire every day, mainly pistol. I don't do a whole lot of rifle, but want to. It's fun. I just feel like pistol is a lot more technical, a lot more difficult. So because of that, I think it's more fun. So I've been doing a lot. Hopefully, I've been wanting to compete for a long time. So hopefully I'll get a chance to do some USPSA this year and embarrass myself a little bit and get better. Yeah, it's been awesome, man. I love shooting. It's really, really addictive. So big thanks to Ryan Hall.
Probably some of it's owing to you being a competitive person.
I'm slightly competitive, not really that competitive at all. Just trying to shoot. No, I'm a competitive jerk.
Asking how to join your gym here.
Yeah. So basically right now, the way we've set it up, and this may change in the future, but I'm not trying to be on my high horse over here, but just because of some of the things that I want to teach, we've just been kind of dealing with people who have blue belts and above. That may change in the future. If you are someone who has like a bunch of wrestling experience or been training a while, and maybe you're a white belt, but you are more experienced and you can learn pretty well, I may make an exception for that stuff. But basically, anyone who's a blue belt and above who wants to come in and train, we've been getting various levels in here. Guys that are super experienced to guys that are just blue belts. So I think that it'd be great to get more people in here. Just go on the website, give us a call over here at A&R Tactics and come on in.
No, you have a few just wishing that UFC would have you back commenting, and they love your commentary.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Sometimes things get political, or maybe they don't like me. I don't know. All right, guys. Thank you so much, guys. We'll continue to do this and bring the questions. If you guys have more things, more subjects, more things that you want me to talk about, let me know. See you guys.
Getting on it.
Ooh, my knees.
Sorry.